And I believe we are live. Live Q&A session on the main channel. First time for months since we've done a live Q&A session on the channel. Only been doing live Q&A sessions on the Patreon, so this is a bit strange. So we'll see how we do. Normally we get quite a few viewers in the Patreon live streams, but I'm thinking that potentially with the being on the main channel, we're going to get quite a few people that don't normally join us. So we'll see how we do. But yeah, crazy earnings coming up in the next 10 minutes. I've got CNBC in the background over here. So at the moment, they're just kind of talking about stocks that jumped off earnings off yesterday. Visa's up something like 10%. I think Microsoft's up something like 5-6%. Bit of an ugly day in the stock market apart from them stocks. But yeah, just talk about them at the moment, waiting for the ones that are reporting earnings to come in, which hopefully if I share this screen, boom, there we go. You should be able to see everything. And I mean, look at this. We've got Meta tonight. That's going to be, I think Meta's the big one. Meta, I don't know what that's going to do because that has given guidance of like 3% to 11% growth. So it'll be interesting to see if it comes at the lower end. Is it going to come at the higher end? What guidance to give going forward. PayPal's an interesting one. You know, how much of the eBay numbers are still affecting them. Obviously, Q2 is going to be the last one. Then you've got Ford, you've got Qualcomm, Pinterest is a big one. You know, what's the revenue going to be? What's the profit going to be? User growth, you know, it could probably actually put really good financials in, but if the user growth miss expectations, then that could send the stock down. I mean, TDOC, ServiceNow is actually quite interesting. Upwork, I'm keeping an eye on Upwork because I'm very interested into its rival, which is Fiverr. So we're checking them numbers out. Lending Club's quite an interesting one. Align's interesting one to watch. United Rentals isn't too bad of a one. Cheesecake's actually always interesting. So I mean, there's a lot of stocks out here. So yeah, the main ones we'll try to cover today are Meta, PayPal, Pinterest, and TDOC. So yeah, we'll we'll see what they bring out. So yeah, I mean, what time are we on? 8 minutes to the market shut. So yeah, not too long. So yeah, if you got any questions, fire a few questions in while we're waiting for while we're waiting. And I'll stop sharing my screen while we're waiting for some of these numbers to come out. Just good to see some of the classic patron, Ali, the legend of the patron live streams. Normally, for you guys that might not normally be on the Patreon or join the live streams on the Patreon, Allah is here every week, and he's always the first one to comment on the live streams every single day. And unfortunately, Alex has just beaten him to it and taken his record that he's had going on for the last couple of weeks, couple of months. So second place isn't too bad. We've got loads of us joining us. It's always see, I always recognize the same faces that always join us all the time, which is really cool. Some funny comments down here. Um, you know what? This is the funny thing is that even the thing is if Meta actually do miss their earnings, you got to remember what that stock is valued at right now. You know that stock is valued so low at the moment. You know this company is valued at that it's going to carry on growing at like, you know, 6-7% a year. Like, you know, if this company starts getting back in that, you know, double digit, you know, potentially teen range growth, and then obviously starts going back to putting decent amounts of profitability, which is the questionable part because it's like how much is it actually going to carry on spending on Meta? That's the $1 million question because that's I think that last quarter they spent something like 3 billion or something on the Meta side of the business. So you know there's that question as well. How much are they going to continue to spend on Meta? But you know if they go back to, you know, good amounts of, you know, teen growth and they grow the profit side of it starts moving back in the right direction, then it's valued really cheap is Meta. So I think they can afford. I say that I think they can afford to probably have a bit of a hit, but at the same time, um, with how negative the market is, we saw Netflix. You know, Netflix was already beaten down, and they missed numbers by a lot, and that got hit hard. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting one. Trying to keep up with questions. They go they're coming in pretty quick. You know what? Don't worry, because it's half time at the moment, and we'll finish this live stream around about 20 past 9. So you should be able to catch the back end of the second half. Don't worry, it'll work out okay. Oh, it's you guys talking to each other there. I always get mixed up which times you guys are talking to each other in the comments. Yeah, I'm gonna have to be a bit more like work on the flames on the thumbnail slightly, don't I? And work on the capital letters a bit more. And as soon as we have a red day, I need to come out and go, oh, it's stock market's crashing. And then when we have a good day, I'll have to put, oh, stock market booms and everything like that. I'm going to have to hype the stock market up a bit more in the short term, aren't I? Going to have to match that American flair that's going on with some American YouTubers out there. H Pro says, what's your thoughts on metaverse? If FB well equipped to be a leader given Mark's track history of controversy? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's going to be successful. I've thought about this many times. I generally don't know if it's going to be successful or not. I mean, I think there's potentially a good future for it, but to the level that Facebook are committing on the funding side of it, like what is it, 3 billion a quarter? I mean, it's going to have to be a pretty big area, isn't it, to justify spending that much? So I think it has potential. I don't know if it's worth the 3 billion spend potential. We'll see what happens in the next few years. But Mark Zuckerberg, he's got a track history of doing quite well. He turned Facebook into quite a successful business, obviously. Um, obviously Instagram, bought Instagram for an amazingly cheap fee, WhatsApp for an amazingly cheap fee, had the brainwave of going, you know what, let's split Messenger up from Facebook and have another app in the top 10 app store. So he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. um, where we're at. I try to keep up with the questions. Yeah, Boohoo has had a bit of an ugly day. I don't want to talk about Boohoo too much because it's reporting earnings next week. And then when they come out with their update next week, we'll see what happens there. But I think there's a few nervous people getting out after potentially ASOS's earnings, maybe thinking, you know what, I'm going to take the risk off the table a little bit here. We've got Fergie joining us. Goldie. Oh, there's a lot of legends in this chat. Do you think these kind of markets, and do you get worried? Do I like these kind of markets and do I get worried? Yeah, I mean, for me, these markets, for me personally, I've been through, quite a few heavy dips before, and every time it doesn't get easier. Like every time, you're like, God, like especially when it's this one and it's been like month after month of like day after, just downtrending markets. It's ugly. It's ugly, and you're like, oh, this is gonna, probably be the end of it. It's gonna start moving up in the right direction, and then it carries on and it goes lower and lower, and you buy the dip and it goes lower and lower. It does feel pretty crap, doesn't it? But the thing is as well is that for me personally, I've been through these dips before. So for me, I know the rewards of buying in the dips. And when I buy in these dips, I've seen some of the outcomes, like I was posting about this on the Discord last night saying, I've seen the rewards of buying in the dips. And quite often they're the best returns that you get is buying in the dips. So it's awful, but at the same time, I know the outcomes and I know the rewards that I will get from this in the next few years. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't get easier, and it is awful going through it, but I've got the confidence. I've got confidence. I've got high conviction in all my companies. And at the end of the day, even if like, let's say in my stock market portfolio, let's not forget I've got 20, 30 stocks in my portfolio. If two mess up that badly and two go tits up, right? At the end of the day, I've still got 28 other stocks that could potentially land. And them 28 stocks will make up for two bad stocks. And then you start thinking, well, in them 28 stocks, if I have two stocks that even go on in the next 5 years to 10x, that's way going to make up for two stocks that miss. Let's say worst case scenario, we say like a Tattoo Chef, a Beyond Meat, a Skills, one of the more high risk stocks in my portfolio. Let's say they mess up really badly. I can afford to take it as long as the other 29, 28 stocks hit pretty well. And that's what people always forget. And I've noticed that quite at the moment, like people are quite negative on these growth stocks and thinking like not a lot of them will come back. A lot of them will come back massively. You look at the likes of the CV dip. Look how many of them got absolutely slaughtered, and look how many came back. The only way they're not going to come back is if the financials don't perform that well, and then it absolutely falls off a cliff. So, yeah. That's my thoughts on that. We've got Matty joining us. Yeah, Nvidia's had a up market's just closed, so I might cut off from the questions any second if any earnings start coming in. It'll be on CNBC over here. I don't know if CNBC are going to report them all. That's the thing. I know they'll talk about Meta and PayPal when they come up and Ford, but I don't know if they'll talk about TDOC or Pinterest because they might be a bit too small for them. So if that happens, I'll have to Google the earnings. So we'll see. So yeah, Nvidia is a lot better. I think it was massively overvalued, but it's definitely interesting right now. So that's what I'd say on Nvidia. I've just seen Pinterest. Pinterest is down 3% at the moment after hours. So I wonder if their earnings are out. Oh, it's just gone back up actually. It's now up. It's now up 0.2%. So maybe that's just someone trying to dump off shares before their earnings come out. So yeah, nothing out yet. Yeah, that is something you do have to be careful of. But even if they don't acquire anyone, you've got to remember like the moat they have and the profit that they'll still carry on to reap in from them apps. It's going to be pretty good. So yeah, it is a little bit of a nightmare that they can't acquire anyone right now. But I still think Instagram's going to be a major cash cow for the next few years. So yeah, nice buys, Fergie. Sorry, I'm going to squeeze down a little bit down. If I miss your questions out, I'm really sorry. There's a lot of questions, so I'm just going to jump down to the new ones. Oh, that's a good question. I'm gonna go Meta. I'm gonna take a big bet. I'm gonna go Meta. It's 50-50, but I think there's a lot of negativity price there. No earnings out yet though. Um, what's my average on Facebook? I think I'm down like 10% on Facebook. So I'm not sure what my average is. Yeah, Apple and Amazon tomorrow. That big earnings. Got Martin joining us. Spotify earnings out of 10. I've not seen him. Sorry, AJ. I've not seen him. Oh, I heard about them. They're having quite a few troubles, aren't they, with the financials at the moment? I saw it in the news that the share price like fell off. Like, was it like 50% or something? Yeah, I noticed that. But I've not actually looked at what's going on there. It's probably a little bit risky though, I've got to say. If it's something to do with that they could potentially go bankrupt and you're buying into that, that's definitely risky. Um, we've got David joining us. It's good to see so many of you Patreon guys still on here joining us. I've not looked. See, Lewis seems to know a bit of details on it. I've not looked on the situation, but I just know they're having definitely a bit of problems. Sean says nearly pulled the trigger on Meta earlier, but I honestly think it's a coin flip, and I'm not a gambler. You know what? If you're buying Meta at like 20, 30 times earnings, I would say that 100% it's definitely a bit of a risk. Like I'd say like buying Netflix is a bit more of a risk, still buying at this sort of valuation. But I would justify that, Facebook Meta is that low now that it's not too much of a risk. You got to remember what it's priced at now. It's like it's nearly like I would say something like half the price of like Coca-Cola, for example. And we know which one makes a lot more profit and which one grows a lot faster. So, that's what I would say on that point of view. We've got Forte in the UK joining us. No problem. No problem. I don't really do that many live streams on the YouTube now. I only really do live streams on Patreon. But I used to do them for subscriber specials. But I was saying this on Patreon, like the really weird thing is like a few months ago, like when stocks were going up, everyone was like wanting to join stocks, research stocks, watching YouTube videos on stocks, and doing everything like that in a really hyped up bull market. And that's when for me personally, and a lot of YouTube channels out there, like everyone's great gaining like loads of subscribers, and that was probably the worst time to be investing. And now it's the other way around, and stocks are like falling off a cliff, and this is probably like the best time to be buying at like the lowest valuations they've been for like years. And Qualcomm have just reported earnings that look pretty good, by the way. And this is now the best time to be buying, and people aren't like really interested. No one's interested in starting investing. Nobody's interested in buying stocks on the stock market, and it's just crazy. Like this is the cycle, and within like a few months' time or whatever it is, when we have the market flip again and stocks go back up, like you'll notice like the views on YouTube will boom again, and people want to get in the stock market, even though now we've been on the run. And you'd be like, yeah, but you wanted to be in now. This is when you would want to be buying, not when they kind of, um, you know, go back on the good run. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm just trying to keep an eye on, see if any companies are reporting earnings at the moment. There's still talk about Qualcomm on CNBC. There's a lot of you talking about McCoy's here. I might have to have a look and see how bad this situation is. Apparently, Pinterest earnings are out. They've not reported it yet on CNBC. Qualcomm's a good one because that Qualcomm obviously do a lot of chips. So if the demand's still there, that's pretty positive. Oh, Pinterest, yeah. Pinterest is up. Let me share my screen. Give me a second. Share screen. Then you don't just have to stare at my face. Let's go here. Look, Pinterest up 8%. No other earnings out yet on CNBC. They're not talked about Pinterest yet, but it is up, so the earnings must be out. Here we go, Seeking Alpha. So EPS B, revenue B, still putting 18% year-over-year growth. That's good. Q2 will be around 11% year-over-year. Non-GAAP grow around 10% quarter-over-quarter. Okay, a bit more expenses that they're going to be doing here. Nothing about monthly active users. So I'm guessing there's something about monthly active users that's really spiked that one up. Because them earnings are okay, like they've beaten and revenue's decent. Them earnings are pretty solid, but a 10% jump on Pinterest would suggest to me something about monthly active users has moved back in the right direction. Because that's what Pinterest normally moves off. I wonder if I can click on the press release. Oh, it does say actually global and monthly active users did decrease 9%. I'm surprised on that. I wonder if international users were stronger then. Yeah, monthly active users actually decreased all the way around. I'm actually surprised on that jump. I'm surprised Pinterest hasn't been punished on that earnings. Or Meta's out as well. Meta missed revenue. This ooh. Whoa, I'm surprised Facebook's going up as well, to be honest with you. Or Meta, should I say. Yeah, Meta's currently up. Yeah, Meta's currently up 7%. But looking at their earnings weren't that good either. Um, oh, Meta, what's that metal coin? Meta. So yeah, I mean revenue was a miss. Looks like earnings was okay. Yeah, earnings was okay. Revenue was a miss and grew 6% year over year, which was very much in the mid range of what they guided. I think they said that monthly active users doesn't look too bad. I wonder if there's something about the outlook in here. Doesn't look too bad. EPS isn't bad. Revenue is okay. It was a bit in the mid range. I'm actually quite surprised to see Meta jump that much actually off these earnings. Same with Pinterest. I'm actually quite surprised on the jumps in the stock. Maybe maybe it's just because of that cheap. I mean, at 12 times earnings, that's why it's having its jump. But Meta's earnings didn't seem. I mean, they're okay. I don't think they were terrible, but maybe the stocks are just so low. That's why they're jumping. But I'm trying to I'm trying to see why that stock is going up here because the profit isn't too bad by the looks of it. The revenue is okay. I mean, maybe the monthly active users was a bit better than what was expected. Maybe because there's a lot of increases. I'm going to have a bit of a further dig into this. Maybe because the monthly active users are not too bad. Maybe that's why. Yeah, I'm a bit surprised on that one as well. So yeah, Pinterest a bit mixed on Pinterest. Um, Facebook as well. I wouldn't say Facebook's too strong, but maybe they're just so that's because they're so actually so beaten down. That's maybe why they're going up so much. Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. I'm just listening. Sorry, I'm not talking too much. I'm just kind of listening to what they're saying on CNBC at the same time. Yeah, I mean, obviously we've had Meta out. Meta's up 8% after these earnings, and Pinterest as well. Pinterest up 8%. Facebook is actually up 11% right now. Some the Q2 revenue of 28 billion to 30 billion versus 30 billion point six estimated. So even the Q2 guidance was actually slightly below what analysts were expecting as well. Maybe they're playing it a bit safe. Um, they said softness in back half of Q1 due to Ukraine war. So maybe if it wasn't for that, the numbers would have actually been even a little bit stronger than what they were. But the stock's up 12%. So this is the stock market for you. This is generally what the stock market is. It can be like sometimes. Sometimes you think like, something stupid's going on, like, oh, why is that stock selling off? And then at the same time, you're looking at stocks and going, why is that stock going up? Like, something like Meta, you're looking at their earnings and you're like, they weren't like blowout earnings. These are no way earnings that you think they were, 10 out of 10 earnings, 9 out of 10 earnings. They were okay. Probably, I'd say probably 5 out of 10 earnings from what I've seen so far. I don't know too much detail yet. But from what I can see, I would say they're probably, okay earnings. And it's just gone boom. I think that's stock market. It's crazy sometimes how it can react in the short term. And maybe that's also because of just how much we're sold off now. So yeah. Yeah, it seems like a lot of you guys as well are thinking kind of the same as me. Um, Sean says still don't understand why it's gone up so much on those earnings though in this market. Yeah, it's crazy. This is stock market for you. Like short term, anything can happen. Like, I mean, I thought Facebook would probably go up today. I thought because of how low it's priced, but after seeing them earnings, I was like, ooh, seeing how the market reacted to Netflix earnings and it jumps that much. I'm not complaining too much, like as a shareholder, but yeah, it's strange. Neil says National Express up to 2019 levels, but gone down. It had a jump on the day, but then it slowly reversed it. I mean, that sums up like some of the stock market we're kind of in now. Um, it's um, it's crazy. Something like a National Express comes out and gives up such a good trading update, and then it gets like it just completely reverses it. That's another short term feel like it's just crazy. Dan says that TDOC is down 18%. It's not come up on CNBC yet, but I'll have a look because I believe you. Yeah, it's down 19% according to to what I can see right now, they must have brought some earnings out. We'll take a look at them in a second. As far as we were aware, Ethan, we've not got PayPal yet. That's one of the ones that we're waiting for. Matt says, "What's thoughts on Meta now?" Yep, I don't think much really changed with that earnings report. I think it just it's just another steady month. I think in the long term, we still pretty much know that we've got a company here that's going to be putting in decent amounts of profit, decent amounts of revenue. Looks like they got hit by a bit of a shot. It would have been good to kind of know. Like I say, it's always hard because I've not been able to go through too much detail of the earnings yet. But it'd be good to kind of know what numbers they potentially were going to do if it wasn't for the Ukraine-Russia situation. Yeah, that's the thing. As long as this market does stay down, it gives you more opportunities to buy for sure. Yeah, that's what my thinking as well. I think that the market at the moment has a lot of stocks. This is the thing that I've always been saying. The way that a lot of these stocks are priced at the moment, something like Meta and Pinterest doesn't have to do too many amazing things for it to have an absolute crazy bounce. And then you start thinking about what could happen if you do have the stocks start moving back in the right direction and they start putting in really good numbers. Very quickly, a lot of these stocks can move crazy amounts. A lot of you guys pointing out about TDOC. We'll have to take a look at TDOC in a second. I think PayPal's today. Yeah, PayPal is today, I think. CBYB says it is up 6%. We'll have to take a look. Let me go to PayPal first. I'm not getting anything on PayPal. Nothing on PayPal at the moment. Let me share my screen. Let's go have a look at TDOC. Let's see what's going on with TDOC because that is getting crippled. You can see here 20% down. Massive. That's a massive drop. Okay, revenue looks pretty strong, still going at 25%. That can't be right. EPS of negative what? I don't know what's going on there. I don't know. Don't know what that is. Revenue 565 million missed by 3. That's not bad. It's not bad. Oh, they've took a non-cash goodwill impairment charge of 6.6 billion, right? That's why. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what is going on that EPS? Right, that makes sense. That makes sense. Full guidance here, revenue and net loss adjusted EBITDA revised to 2.4 to 2.5 billion versus consensus of 2.5 billion. Okay, looks like probably, I'm guessing this is something to do with losses. I'll have to have a look. I'm guessing it's something down here to do with the money they're going to be losing. Yeah, I'm guessing it is this impairment that they're taking on. Is it? This is the thing about doing live streams when earnings come out. Like, I'm trying to concentrate and talk to you at the same time, and it can be a bit of a nightmare sometimes. I'm gonna have to have a look and see what they're saying about this impairment charge because it looks like what spooked the stock. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to come back on this one and see what's going on there. But it seems like that's really spooked the stock, and that's why the stock is probably down this much. So yeah, I'll have to come back to that one and see what's going on there. But it looks like that's what spooked it. What are you guys saying? Dan says that apparently PayPal have reduced their guidance. Let's have a look. So at the moment, it's still saying for me that PayPal is flat at the moment. Let's have a look if there has been something come out with PayPal. Dan says it's out, so we'll have a look. Yes, it is out. EPS is in line. The beat revenue by 90 million. That's not too bad. Revenue of 7.8%, beat by 90 million. Revenue expected to grow 50%. Oh, they're cutting their outlook here, aren't they? Then PayPal earnings are a bit weak. I'm surprised PayPal is not getting punished more for these. Sorry, I'm not sharing my screen again, am I, with you guys? Let me share my screen with you. So yeah, PayPal at the moment is pretty much flat at the moment on the share price, and earnings are out. And you'll be able to see here that the EPS was in line. The revenue was only a slight beat. The revenue growth was 7.8%, but you can see here that revenue outlook here. This has been reduced. And this as well. They're cutting down the amount of revenue and profitability down here. I can't remember the numbers on my head, but it wasn't that. So yeah, I think Dan mentioned that they cut outlook, and it looks to me they've cut their outlook as well. This is a bit slower than what was expected. So it seems like, same again. I don't know why they're cutting that outlook. I'd have to listen to the conference call and dig deeper into their earnings. Why they've cut the outlook down on the profit and revenue side of it. I'm guessing potentially the obvious thing would be to say there's something that's affected them with the Russia and Ukraine situation, and potentially something to do with the eBay situation that's obviously going on. So yeah, but even right now, this is the thing. This is why I'm thinking we're looking at something like a PayPal, and it's not being punished for those earnings. I'd say PayPal's probably one of the more disappointing earnings today. And it's the share price isn't getting punished at all. And I'd say that once again, it's a bit like a Facebook or a Meta. These stock prices are so low that a lot of these earnings aren't absolutely that good, and they're not going down because of how low these stock prices are valued at now. There's already a lot of negativity priced into them. So yeah, I'd say them PayPal earnings are probably a little bit disappointing. I think in the long term, if they can still do the numbers that they're saying down here, this stock is still cheap. But it's disappointing to see probably some of the outlook being cut slightly. So yeah, I'd say that PayPal is probably one of the more disappointing ones here. But yeah, there's definitely no blowout earnings from what I've seen so far between PayPal, Meta, Pinterest, TDOC. There doesn't seem any blowout ones from any of them. But none of them have been hammered on the share price, funny enough. Where am I at? Better up. Yeah, I think the earnings were pretty much in line, but that guidance is being massively cut. I think that's the big thing. Yeah, Danny says as well, they've reduced the EPS. From what I can remember off my top of my head, that EPS and revenue has been cut massively from what they said they were going to do in Q1. Yeah, the what Mustang's saying here, that this impairment that they're taking on is huge. Is huge. So I have to see what's going on here. Yeah, I think Fergie's I think gotta say oh, I've got a big spammer here. Can I block them? Yeah, there we go, blocked him. Um yeah, I think Hims is a slightly better company, isn't it? But I still think I'm surprised to see I guess though, if the losses are if we are going to lose a lot more money than what was expected, it is going to probably hit the stock price. But it's pretty low value though, isn't it? At the moment, TDOC as well. Yeah, just seems to be holding on. The kicked, we started it. um, is TDOC actually down 32%? Let's have a look, quick look. 36% TDOC down. That is massive. That is massive drop off from TDOC. Jeez. TDOC is absolutely getting slaughtered. I said none of them. I said none of them being dropped. I said none of them have dropped huge off earnings, and then you go on TDOC. Jeez, look at that, 36%. Oh, that's a massive, massive drop. I'm gonna have to see what's going on here with TDOC. Oof, it's a massive drop. I mean, it's a 9 billion market cap. Let's have a quick look. Let's see what this company's going to be valued at tomorrow when it opens up. Hold on, let's have a quick look here. How many shares does TDOC have outstanding? Oh, it doesn't say. Oh, there it is. Hold on. Let's see what this market cap's going to be tomorrow for TDOC. 161. How many shares have got? 161 times by. What's the share price? What's it at? 35. Whoa. So tomorrow, TDOC's market cap is going to open up at 5.6 billion if it stays how it does right now. That's crazy. That's going to be a massive drop off on that share price tomorrow. TDOC 5 billion market cap tomorrow. I mean, to think this company as well was like at this time when it was $300 was like 30 billion market cap, and it's going to be 5 tomorrow. It's probably even more than that. Yeah, oh, I don't know actually. Yeah, it would have been about 30 million. 30 billion, sorry. 30 billion market cap. Yeah, from about a 30 billion market cap down to a 5 billion market cap tomorrow. Jeez. I mean, when you look at the share price, I mean, obviously this doesn't take into consideration like share dilution, but you're going back to like, January 2018, like four years of share price absolutely destroyed. Obviously not taking into account share dilution, but obviously taking into consideration they did get Livongo with that. Whew. I'm gonna have to have a look at TDOC in a little bit more detail in a little bit. We'll see. We'll see. what's what's your odds on Cafe Woods sells TDOC tomorrow? What are your odds? We've seen so many times, like when some of Cafe Wood stocks just fall off a cliff, boom, then falls off. Then they just go right now. Time to get rid of it. Matty says all the earnings look weak. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think a lot of the earnings today, there's not been one earnings that I've looked at. Meta's still up 13% at the moment. So I don't know how Meta's up 13% after them earnings, but I agree. Like PayPal I thought was pretty weak. I thought Meta was okay. I'd probably say PayPal was probably like, without knowing too much more detail. I've not gone through the proper earnings yet. I've not gone through conference calls, so obviously bear that in mind. But I'd say PayPal was probably like a 3 out of 10. I'd say Facebook's probably 5 out of 10. TDOC, I don't really know because I have to have a look a bit more what's going on here. So I don't want to say too much on TDOCs, even though the share price is absolutely tanking. I need to have a bit more look into what's going on there. Pinterest probably looks same again. Probably 5 out of 10. They're just starting to talk about TDOC actually on CNBC right now. I wonder if I can. I don't know where the mic is on this. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but they're just talking about it right now. Don't know if you guys can hear that, but looks like there's also something to do with some weak guidance going on with TDOC. So that could be another thing. There's something mentioned about Livongo, which I didn't quite catch. So maybe there's something going on there with Livongo. So oh, got Charlie joining us. Charlie, I was actually going to send you a message the other day, see how you're doing. Probably not tomorrow. I bought most of my stocks already this week. We'll see how we do. Oh, could you not hear that? Oh, no way. Sorry. I thought you guys could hear it. Yeah, I agree massively. Yeah. Will says him's likely to follow. Is him's likely to follow TDOC? I don't think so, because obviously TDOC is more like, B2B and him's is more B2C. So these two could come out totally with different numbers, massively different numbers, even though they're very much in the same area. So yeah. You probably did well. You probably did well to dodge a few of them. Oh dear. Right, guys, we're 43 minutes in anyway. Most of the earnings are out now with TDOC, PayPal, Meta, Pinterest. Probably I would say underwhelming earnings from all of them. I would say. I would say that we'll have to see what's going on with TDOC, but that's been absolutely slaughtered. I'd say PayPal was not great. I'd say Meta was okay. Pinterest looks okay, probably not as good as Meta's. So, yeah, it was surprising to see a lot of these actually hold up as much as they did. But maybe it's just because they're so sold off now. So yeah, we'll see what will happen tomorrow. I'll probably take a look at TDOC and see what's going on there. Maybe do a video on TDOC tomorrow if I can get through the conference call and everything like that. Just to let you know, Meta is currently actually up 14% now. So yeah, that's a move I did not expect off them earnings. So yeah. Anyway, guys, we'll call it time there. Anyway, I won't keep you for too long. But that's the earnings review for today done. So I hope you enjoyed it. Something different, something not done for a while anyway. And thanks for spending your Wednesday evening with us. And